That is San Francisco, and this is Alameda. Two beautiful cities here in the Bay Area, only about 10 miles apart. You wouldn't think that there'd be such major differences in lifestyle, climate, and affordability. Well, it's no secret that people have been leaving San Francisco. Just a few years ago, they had a net migration loss of 55,000 people. Where are they moving to? Well, a majority of them are moving to different counties here in the Bay Area, and Alameda is certainly one of them. So you're thinking about moving across the Bay. You love the scenery and the energy of the city, but maybe you're tired of the crime and you still want that vibrant setting, yet a little bit more of a tranquil lifestyle and neighborhood. Well, I've got the perfect island for you. In this video, we're gonna compare the lifestyle changes and the affordability, cost of living from San Francisco to Alameda. From my perspective, having lived here my whole life. I'm Coyne, your East Bay realtor, and if you want more insights on everything Alameda and the East Bay, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because we help people every single day make their move in the Bay Area, and we'd love to help you. Now let's get on with the video. San Francisco, while iconic and vibrant, is one of the most expensive cities in the United States for housing, and with daily expenses such as your morning coffee to your night out, well, things can quickly add up. Now let's see how this cost of living stack up against Alameda, and we'll start with the good stuff. Real estate. San Francisco and Alameda are both known for their fantastic architecture of the Victorian era and the early 1900s. You're gonna find houses that you'll certainly fall in love with in both locations, but one might be more attainable than the other. In Alameda, your dollar definitely stretches further. Now, let's compare home values. For a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in San Francisco, the median price point is $1,600,000. The median square footage is 1,674 square foot, which comes out to a price per square foot of $956. Now, if we put this into a mortgage calculator with a 20% down payment, 1% property tax for simplicity's sake, and a 6% interest rate, that comes out to a monthly mortgage payment of $9,113 per month. That also means your down payment will be $320,000. Now, comparing this to Alameda, the median price point for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house is $1,380,000. We can round this up to 1.4. The median square footage is 1,503 square foot, which is a little bit smaller than the San Francisco median, but the price per square foot comes out to $872, which is a lot better. Now, putting this into the mortgage calculator with the same parameters, your mortgage payment would come out to $7,987 every single month. Your down payment would be $280,000. This would make a difference of $1,126 every single month. Now, if we put this over the entire year, that comes out to $13,512 every single year that you would save on mortgage if you purchased a house with a similar sized property here in Alameda versus San Francisco. And over the course of 30 years, well, that makes for $405,000. Now, obviously, this isn't complete science, and this is just as an example, and you would probably refinance, but this just goes to show the long-term difference in purchasing a house in San Francisco versus in Alameda. Now, I get it. That's not a really apples to apples comparison. So let's take a look at the averages with properties that have sold in the same time frame last year that were sold within 1.55 million to 1.6, and let's see the real differences. In San Francisco, there have been 34 homes sold within this price range data. You have an average of 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and almost 1,700 square foot. Your price per square foot is quite high at $985, and you almost have 3,200 square foot for the entire lot, so your land size. Now let's compare this to Alameda, where on average you'll get 3.6 bedrooms, which means you've got a much better chance of finding a 4-bedroom home here in the East Bay. about 2 bathrooms, but your square footage and home size is going to be much larger at almost 2,100 square foot. That is about 400 square foot more than San Francisco. And your price per square foot is much lower at $777. But get this, the lot size, 9,400 square foot in lot, comparing to the 3,200 of San Francisco. That's one of the major key differences in living in the suburbs, and why a lot of families elect to live here and decide to move here, because you're gonna have a lot more space in your home as well as on your entire property. It means you'll have a backyard. You might likely have a driveway. You may even have a garage and detached garage. What's very popular nowadays is detached garages, where a lot of people are turning into an additional living space, an entertainment room, or some people even converting it to an accessory dwelling unit. These detached garages have become very valuable in locations like the Bay Area, where space is so expensive, right? So it's more likely you will find these features and property characteristics here in the suburbs of Alameda versus in San Francisco, where, you know, the houses and lots are a lot skinnier, walls might be touching, your lot sizes aren't going to be as usable. We all know with dogs and kids, we want them to run around and have enough space to play. So these are some of the main key differences that we really enjoy here in Alameda. For renters, the island is also more attractive, with the average 2-bedroom rental in San Francisco being about $3,200 for 730 square foot. Now in Alameda, the average rental rate is about $2,700 for about 840 square foot. That's 100 square foot more with a lesser value. Now, this doesn't even take into account parking. With limited space in San Francisco, many rentals don't even include a parking space or have a parking garage. On average, paying for a parking spot in San Francisco can cost north of $300 every single month. If you add that up, well, affordability is really going downhill, and it makes it that much more difficult to live in the city. I know parking in San Francisco is a pain in the ass, and as a constant visitor there to meet up with my friends, it's one of the most stressful things about heading to the city and having to constantly think and maybe plan out where I'm gonna park when I go visit my friends or family. The city often has either permit parking locations, loading zone only, street sweeping, and if you do happen to find a spot, there's usually a 2-hour time limit, sometimes less. You see those crazy parking signs with, you don't know how to read them some of the time. Just in the past few months, I've gotten 2 parking tickets for just being 5 minutes over the time I was allowed to park there. The parking enforcement people in San Francisco are like hawks waiting to give you tickets. And these tickets were about $90 each. Over the course of the year, if you get a few parking tickets, well, this stuff can really add up. In Alameda, parking is plentiful, and it's something that you don't really think about much, but once you have it and once you see the opposite, then it really makes you grateful of how great parking is here on the island. Sure, we also have some locations where there's time limits or residential parking permits are needed, but they usually do allow you to park there as a guest if you're there for a short time. And some of these residential locations, well, sometimes they allow anyone to park there. Frankly, I'm usually upset when I'm not able to find parking right outside of where I'm going and I have to go down the street. So that just goes to show parking is a lot more available here. And it's certainly not a factor in me deciding on going out or how I'm gonna get someplace. I'm always driving if it's in the East Bay or Alameda, and it makes life that much more convenient. Let's talk foods. Yeah, you're not likely to see a major difference in cost between specific foods from either city. This latte was $7, but it's the lifestyle that comes with moving to the suburbs that could potentially save you a lot of money eating out. Restaurants in San Francisco have added an additional SF mandate or service charge on top of their bill that they pass on to consumers. This is on top of tax and tip, and it's in order to pay for healthcare costs for the employee. Now, as a family, if you eat out multiple times a week, this cost can certainly add up. The food scene in Alameda is great. There's plenty of options, but it may not be as convenient or plentiful as San Francisco. Especially for me as a vegan or any of you with dietary needs, San Francisco just has so many more options as compared to Alameda. Of course, that just comes with being in a city. There's a lot more people and a lot more specialty restaurants. And frankly, just being in San Francisco puts you more in a setting or enables you to eat out more or more frequently. Living in Alameda, you're gonna have a little bit more affordability in terms of housing, maybe larger spaces and more comfortable spaces, as well as a lot more grocery stores that are local to you. Now, with an average meal cost of $20 per meal, if you just ate out one meal less per week on a 5-day work week, that would save you about $5,200 per year on food. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love an additional $5,200, and that's about 1.5 months worth of rent that you would save by not eating out as much. You probably wouldn't think that just being 10 miles across the bay would be a difference in weather, but it actually plays a factor in some people's decision to move here. Now, in Alameda right now, it's about 65 degrees. In San Francisco, it's about 62 degrees. And frankly, it's known to be a lot more windy and a lot colder in San Francisco as compared to the East Bay. San Francisco has what I call the jacket dilemma, meaning no matter how warm or sunny it is on that day, if you plan to stay out into the evening, you're going to need to bring a jacket. And whenever I'm going out to the bars, it's annoying because it's super cold outside and the bars are super warm and hot, and I don't want to have to carry it around. But with the skyscrapers there and it being right on the coast of the bay, wind is constantly blowing through that city. You'll also probably notice that people in San Francisco always wear their Patagonia and their Arc'teryx jackets. Well, it's because they need the windbreakers over there. And frankly, it gets a lot of fog, and it's so much so that San Francisco has a meme and a character of its fog called Carl the Fog because of how foggy that city gets. They have named their natural phenomenon, so that's pretty funny. Compared to Alameda, it's a lot more still here on the island, especially if you're inland. You are gonna have wind when you're close to the water, but I'm by the water right now and it's not overly blowing. And on average, it's a few degrees higher, and it plays a factor for especially some older folks who want a little bit warmer weather. They do come to the East Bay. And personally, I certainly do enjoy a little bit warmer weather. San Francisco is one of the most beautiful cities in all of the United States, and especially here in the Bay Area. It's why so many people choose to live here. And the scenery there is iconic with the Golden Gate Bridge and the hilltop views of the surrounding city. You're also in such close proximity to various hiking locations out in Marin, in San Francisco itself, Ocean Beach, and even the East Bay. But Alameda, it's not so bad itself. The landscape of San Francisco has many hills, which personally, I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't like walking hills and I don't like parking on the hills, but it's certainly a characteristic that some people prefer. In Alameda, it's a lot more flat land, which is a little bit more my taste. And we might not be in the city directly, but we still have our advantages of being able to see the beautiful San Francisco skyline with the sunset views draping over it in the evening. We also have more closer proximity to various hikes, such as in the East Bay in Oakland and Berkeley Hills. So it's a little bit of a trade-off there, but we're still by the coast. We still get water views surrounding us. I mean, we are an island, and the sacrifices, well, they're not that big. If I wanted to go to San Francisco, I can go there anytime I like. So we still get the beauty and the scenery of being out here in the Bay Area, but it's a little bit different and more preferable in my taste of a lifestyle. I'm here at Crown Beach by Washington Park in Alameda, and just look at how beautiful it is. I mean, we've got families and kids laying out, having picnics on the park here. I'll agree, it's not San Francisco. San Francisco has some fantastic parks that overlook, the Golden Gate Bridge and the Presidio. And so that's certainly a plus that they have in that city. But Alameda is pretty great itself, and it's certainly less hectic and less windy. So in my opinion, a bit more enjoyable to spend the day. Locations in Alameda are also much easier to get to for your daily activities, like the beach, playing tennis, or the dog park over here. And if I forget something at home, well, I could just shoot right back over to my house and pick up what I forgot and come back in 10 minutes. So it makes everything a lot more convenient. San Francisco has a population of about 810,000 people. In Alameda, the population is about 75,000 people. So you're certainly going to have a lot more diversity and an eclectic group of people in the city. But you'll have a majority of Asian and Caucasian people. But in San Francisco, you might find a little bit more of a younger adult crowd. A lot of people who are starting their careers, especially in the tech field. That is, the tech hub in Silicon Valley, etc. And if you're not in tech, well, maybe you can feel a little bit like an outsider or aren't around everyone with the same sort of mindset as you. But if you are in tech, that might be a place where you might thrive. In Alameda, you are also going to find young families, as the schools here are so great. A lot of people want to send their kids to school out here, and it's one of the major factors of people moving to the city of Alameda. But you'll also find a lot more baby boomers and empty nesters, older population. It's a fantastic place for retirement, as the weather's nice and it's an easy way of living, very convenient way of living. San Francisco has a lot more of a social scene, from bars to restaurants to clubs. Alameda really doesn't have all of that. We've got a few bars on the island and a lot of breweries, which is great. But if you're someone that wants to have, a nightlife, then living in San Francisco might be more desirable for you. Now, me living in Alameda, I go to San Francisco a lot for a nightlife, so I don't really mind having to commute out there, and it doesn't affect my daily life. But I can see how being immersed in the city and with like-minded people could be beneficial in finding new friends, building your career, etc. Now, if you're looking for certain groups or meetups, San Francisco certainly has a lot more of that. Obviously, there is a heavy gay population as well. And so if you're someone that needs a community or is looking to find a community, then being in San Francisco might assist with that. Versus Alameda, well, we've got some street events, we've got the antique fair, but there's not always something happening like there is in San Francisco. So it's certainly a lot more laid back lifestyle and a lot more quieter lifestyle. But yes, you are gonna find a mix of people from young to old, and it's not gonna be as maybe energetic as city life, but that's one of the perks for some people of living here. Crime is one of the big reasons why people are leaving the city of San Francisco, and homelessness that has certainly run rampant recently. And it's unfortunate that that has happened to such a beautiful city. But sometimes families don't want to have their kids walk around next to that drug scene, that homelessness encampments, etc. And so for every 1,000 homeless people in San Francisco, you probably have one homeless person in Alameda. Just a few weeks ago, my car got broken into in the city of Oakland. okay? In Alameda for 27 years, I've never had my car personally been broken into. But in San Francisco, last year, there was about 20,000 car break-ins, which equated to something about 50 break-ins every single day. So there's a much higher chance that your car is gonna get broken into in San Francisco versus Alameda. And the cost of my window was about $100 deductible, about $700 in total. And if it continuously happens to you, well, that can add up to a pretty penny. And it's one of the reasons why people are electing to move here, because of the safety and a little bit more security that Alameda has. Now, Oakland might be a different story, and not everywhere in Alameda is safe. Do not think that, but it's less likely of a chance to happen to you here. I want to say, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this cost of living comparison. If you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell on my YouTube channel. We've got content coming out every single week about Alameda, East Bay, and the entire Bay Area. And we've got a lot more coming soon. So I'll see you on the next video.